Welcome back to Fantabulous, where we sketch handbags and do product development sketches for handbags and accessories. Okay, so today we are going to colorize our top zip that we sketched last week. It was a black smooth leather with some pleats and a crossbody strap. So we're going to first open a document in Adobe Illustrator, which I did already, 9 by 11, and I put on a ruler with inches and all that in document setup and view. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to place. We're going to find our sketch, which I already previously sent to myself. And there it is. Okay, let's grab this little guy over here and place him here. As usual, I make it huge, so I have plenty of detail. Okay, so let me do this. I'm going to go down to 20% so that it fits on my artboard. There we go. Oh, there you are. Let's get you over to the artboard. And we're going to move up a little bit at a time. Okay, almost there. Just a little bit more. Aha, there we are. Okay, very good. So now we're going to go to Object and Image Trace, and we're going to turn this hand sketch into a sketch that can be digitally manipulated. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our Direct Select tool, and we're going to grab all our edges. And we're going to get rid of any little stains. And now we have, let's see how big this is. Okay, we have a nice sketch that we're going to manipulate. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to shrink it down just a little bit so it fits nicely on the page and isn't like barely inking it. Okay, now I'm going to try something new. Usually I just plop a texture on, but because this is a black bag and it has some shine to it, I'm going to first just completely color everything with like a medium brown, a medium gray, and then after that I'm going to apply textures and see how that looks. So the first thing it's going to do is I'm going to grab major pieces. I'm going to go to a darkish gray color and see, okay, it's good. It's working because I can still see the details of the pleats, which is important. And let's see. All right. Okay, let's see. I'm going to do this dark, and then we're going to go back, and I'm going to grab other areas, which I'm going to actually have to go in and zoom in there because it's not going to work otherwise. Okay, so I'm going to grab this and that and that. Okay, we're working on up. All right, let's get this little guy over here. And let's just go ahead and plop that down before we make a mistake. And we'll go to the other side and we'll go up and see what's missing. So we have more spots that need to be colorized in this dark gray color, which is going to be our base. Okay, go ahead. And let's see if we're missing anything else. All right, here we go. Okay, so here we go. Okay, the next thing, what we'll probably want to do is we're going to go back and look at it. Okay, it's looking okay. Next thing is edge paint or edge stain and hardware. So the hardware, as you might or may not remember, was actually a kind of like a matte silver. So I'm going to go back in, zoom back in there, and we're going to grab our hardware. So it's this little slider buckle, and going to hit shift so I can grab all the hardware at once and just zap it all together. Okay, so let's see. This, zipper pull, ring. I'm gonna just go ahead and I'm going to go to metals and I'm going to use a white gold because even though it's silver, the white gold works pretty well. All right, so, and, oh, I'm missing, oh, rivet. Okay, great. So now what we need to do is go back and check it out. Okay, so we're looking pretty good. Now, the next thing we can do, and we have to do, is the edge stain. I was saying edge paint. It's actually an edge stain. Edge stain is just a dye that kind of soaks into the edge of the handle, and it's different than edge paint. Edge paint is a pigment that lies on top of the edge of the handle, and it kind of like has a little bit of body to it. It gives it a rounded edge. Now, the bag we were working on actually had edge stain, which is much different. It's just a dye that the edge of the leather is dyed. Some kind, it's called edge coat. Oop, that didn't work. Okay. And now we're going to see, I'm going to go for some kind of neutral because this is actually a gradient, by the way. I got this out of the library over here. You know, open swatch library. You got all sorts of fun gradients, and this one's actually a neutral gradient. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check several. This one looks pretty good. It gives you kind of a glossy look to it, which is great. And I'm going to do the same all around. And because it's neutral, it has kind of a warm feeling about it, which is great because leather, even though when it's dyed black as night, it still has a warm feeling about it because it once was a cow, and cows usually are brownish, darkish brown, not really jet black. So there. Okay, so how are we looking? Let's take a look. Ooh, not bad. Okay, so let's grab all the rest of our little pieces of edge paint, and we're going to go ahead and plop down color gradient and make it look glossy because edge paint and edge stain tends to have a glossy look to it, and that's what people like. Okay, so all right, so we're getting all our little friends. Remember to try to get all the little spots that might need it because even though they're small and your conscious eye might not perceive it, unconsciously you'll kind of like wonder why something looks off. Okay, this spot over here could go dark. Okay, so now we're going to go back and see what we have. Okay, 100%. Let's see. Wow, look at that. A handbag with edge paint. It looks a little flat, but you could actually stop here and say, I like it this way, and, you know, go from there. Do your other colorways. I'm going to try something new, like I said before. I want to add a texture to this. So I'm going to go and online find some. Oop, nope, that's not what I wanted. Goodbye, Miss Siri. Okay, I'm going to go and I'm gonna go over and find some free textures. I found this black and white texture of leather. I'm gonna swap it over here. And this is white because it's a black leather. I'm gonna try to put a white texture on top of it and see how it looks. It might look interesting, it might not work, but we're gonna try it. So first thing is I'm going to grab this. I'm going to go to object, crop. I'm going to crop out what I don't like. Now, when you're dealing with a photograph, you will many times have shadows. If you're going to try to turn something into a texture swatch, you want to make sure first that your swatch is completely square. And the other thing is that if you're using a photograph, you want to make sure that you get rid of any shadowing. So you might wind up with a very small sampling. But as long as there's no shadows, you should be okay. So I'm just going to hit there. Okay, now I have my swatch. Now the grain is very aggressive. It looks like a deer grain or an elephant grain even. So I'm going to go and make it smaller, smaller, smaller. Okay, I think it's working. I think it's okay. All right. There we go. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to go to Object Rasterize. And I'm going to rasterize it. I'm also going to flatten it because I want this not to have uh, overwhelming amounts of megabytes when you don't flatten it or rasterize it. Plus, if you don't, it's going to not want to be accepted into the swatch box most of the time. So I'm going to take this and plop it down over here. Okay, so let's see how that works. I'm going to get rid of it. Okay, so next thing is going to be applying this texture in a subtle way. Now let's see if it works, if my experiment actually works. I'm just going to grab, oh, wrong tool. Okay, I'm going to grab this like this, shift, shift, and I'm going to say copy, paste, and then I'm going to apply to this. Now, it's really aggressive, and that's good because I want it to show up even when I go down on opacity. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go down on opacity. I'm going to go down really low. I'm going to go down like 13% and see what that does. I'm going to grab this. Okay, what is going on with this thing? Okay, here. I'm going to grab you and put you back where you were before and see what happens. Now you see we have a kind of a leather-like texture. Okay, I think. Let's see what happens if I go up a little bit on it. Let's see. All right. Now you're seeing there's some kind of shading happening there. I don't like that. So I'm just going to try to do the texture one more time. And this time the sampling is going to be really tiny. So I'm just going to go and grab this and put this over here. Okay. The sampling is going to be teeny weeny. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing I did before. Object, crop. And this time the sampling is going to be very small. And then I'm going to crop it even more. Okay, here we go. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to go down to that much, and I'm going to go into the middle someplace. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go up here. I hope I'll go there. Okay, hopefully that's good. It looks like it might work, but you never know because your eye sometimes fools you. Okay. I'm going to put this over here. I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to rasterize it, but this time I'm not going to flatten it. Let me see if that does anything. Okay, so I'm going to plopple this over here. Boop. Okay, so that's our second texture. So let me get rid of the swatch. I'm going to do the same thing I did before. Oh, nope. Just going to grab this one, direct select, and I'm going to grab this one and do direct select, and I'm going to say copy and paste. And again, I'm going to give myself the texture, and then I'm going to reduce the opacity. This thing is working better. I got a better sampling, a smaller one. I'm going to go down to 18%. Why not? 18 is a nice number. And I'm going to go there and grab this and go like this. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, actually, that's not looking too bad. It's still looking pretty flat, but that's okay. We can work with that. Now, I'm going to do this on areas of the bag that are leather, obviously. So I'm going to go back in and I'm going to grab, oh, I'm going to go to 300%. Okay, let's start with the handles. The under handle I'm not going to bother with because, you know, why bother with it? Okay, I'm going to grab this. I'm going to grab that. I'm not going to bother with the, okay, that. Okay. Oh, that's not it. Okay. And I'm going to say copy, paste, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm even just going to do this. I'm just going to use my eyedropper and go boop. Okay, so that should be working. Okay, I see that we didn't do a great job of placing the others on, but we're going to do a better job here. Okay, I'm going to carefully apply this back to where it goes. Okay, so now we have, okay, now I'm going to go back here and I'm seeing that this is like a little bit crooked. Okay, there we go. All right, so we're gonna do that. Also, this goes up and this way. Okay, very good. I think we're working out pretty well. Okay, let's go up this one. Okay, so we're good. Let's do this little butt cheek over here that is missing. Okay, smaller areas you don't have to go so crazy with because I want to do this as a lot of shadows on it so that it looks like really like a leather bag, you know? Okay, so we're going to put this back. Okay, great. Okay, so we're doing pretty well. Okay, so now, let's see. So now I'm going to apply shadowing. Now, because this part under here might not need it, I'm going to erase that. It doesn't really need it, the texture so much. Now we're going to add extra shadows, which hopefully will, this one I think, no, doesn't need it. Okay, I'm gonna grab that. You can be judicious in what you want to add shadows to or not. You can decide not to or whatever it is. Okay, so now let's go back and see how it looks. Go back to 100%. Okay, so now we have our nice handbag, kind of like with texture, and a little bit of shadowing because I didn't apply the texture here, but I want to do things a little bit darker. So the first thing is I'm going to, and also I'm going to add gloss to certain areas, probably on the edges of the prominent edges of the pleats. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to add shadows. The first shadow I'm going to add is probably going to be something that goes around the body of the bag to the bottom because that's where the shadow is going to hit if there was a light cast down upon it. So what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in again. Go to like 300%. Is that too big? Let's see. Just a little too big. So let's go to 200%. And there we go. Okay, here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go boom, boom, boom. What I'm doing is I'm giving myself a little bit of a shadow. Okay, let me get rid of that fill because it's just confusing me. Okay, so. Okay, what's going on here? Okay, there. Okay, so this is going to go like this. I'm just going to like gobble up this pleat here because it's just easier that way. Okay, so now we're just going to go like that. And then we're going to go back, ease this back in, and we're going to just make our shadow go around, hug the bottom of the bag, the side of the bag, because that's what shadows do. Okay. Make sure that you are happy with your lines. Your line quality really doesn't matter that much for shadow because we're going to go deep on opacity and some of the stuff is going to get obliterated with that, which is fine and dandy. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so we're going to go around here. We're going to go around there, and there. Okay, so now we have the shape, which looks okay. It's going to give it some depth. And we're going to try to just do this. Now that's way too dark. Way too dark. Okay. So let's actually go to fades and see if we can find it. Yeah, that's too dark of a fade. It's like there. Okay, so I think I want to put an angle on it because I'm going to go to a 45-degree angle. And then I'm going to make it a little bit more like that. There. Okay, it's more there. Somehow it's not. The 45-degree angle isn't working that well. Let's try 30. Okay, that's better. Okay, so now what we do, or you could do, if you don't want to do a fade, you could just actually go to a gray color or a dark black, and then you're going to go opacity. And let's just go to like 30%. There. See what that does. Okay, excuse me. Okay, so you see we have here a very delicate kind of shading. I want to go a little bit darker than that. I'm going to go to like 40%. Okay. Very good. 45. Okay, 52. No, maybe too much. Let me see, actually. Might not be bad. Okay, it's not terrible. Now, I'm seeing something here. I don't like the way this shadow is shaped here because it looks a little strange. So I'm just going to like move this up like this, and this one's going to go there. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. It's more of a rounded look. Okay, so, and this I think could go, and then push this down a little bit. No, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to grab the handle and just ease it down a little bit more. Okay, that's not working. All right, whatever. This is the handle I need. Okay, now we're good. Okay, so now we have, I think this is a little bit too aggressive. I think it needs to be more like that. There. Okay, so now we have our bag with a little bit of shading. Now let's go out. Zoom out a little bit. Oh, zoom out. 100%. Okay, so now we're seeing more of a textured bag. It's getting there, but it still could use some help. So the next thing I want to do is like this, these two I want to make darker. And then I'm going to add to the pleats, I'm going to add some dark shading. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, I think I want to go down the opacity a little bit. It's a little bit too, there, that's better. Okay, now, so what was I going to do? Yes, the under handles, well, the handles that don't show, I'm going to grab them and I'm going to give them a little bit darker, not black, but I'm going to give them a kind of a friendly kind of shade. I'm just gonna grab that one and that. No, that's not what I wanted. Okay, so I'm gonna say copy paste. Didn't work. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go back and do a little bit more zooming, and I'm gonna grab him, and then I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to, with shift, grab the other one, and I'm going to say copy paste, and did it do it right, or did it do something crazy again? Yes, it did something crazy again. All right, let's try that one more time. Grab, shift, and then grab again, and then we're going to say copy and paste. There. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to really use a fade because I think it's going to help. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to give it an angle. I'm going to do like 90-degree angle. There, perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to take this fade and I'm going to plop it back where it was so that our under handle has more of a look to it, more of a, let me just go back to 100% and see if it looks better. There you see now the under handle's got like a little bit of a dark look to it. It's starting to look recessed. It looks, there's more dimension to the bag. Now the next thing we want to do is deal with our pleats because that's really what's going to give this bag more of a look to it. Now, I'm seeing here, I think this little guy wants to actually do this. First, this guy has to go out like this. There, okay. And then this one wants to go down like this because it's kind of like the bag has to have like the shadow going under it. Okay, so now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 pleats that are just needing some kind of love and shadowing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go 400%. Okay, maybe that was too much. I think 300%. And we're going to go to those pleats and we're going to just go over them, make shapes, and color them in so that we can give them some shadowing. And okay, yeah, that's a little bit too aggressive, but that's okay because we're going to fix it. And okay, so that's black. That's really aggressively black, and that's fine. We're going to change it. What we're going to do, you can actually start with the black and then go opaque and see how that looks and how that grabs you. You might like it. Let's see. Maybe I'll like it. Let's see. Excuse me. Not bad actually. Let's go back. Let's go back and we'll go 100%. It's not bad, actually. Okay, let's go ahead. Continue, carry on. All right, let's go back to 300%. We're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to grab over here, make ourselves a nice little schematic of some shadowed pleats. And then afterwards, we're going to add some gloss to this. Okay, and we're going to go there and up here. All right, there. Okay, we're going to go to opacity. What was it, like 30%? I forgot. 44%. That sounds good. There. Okay. Looks good to me. Okay, I think I want to move this guy a little bit over so it kind of like goes into the there. Okay, very good. We could actually be lazy and just grab this shape because it looks like it might fit into the other one. Let's see. Copy paste. Okay. Okay. Let's shrink a doodle of this. Nah, didn't do it. Let's not be lazy. It's not good to be lazy. Okay, here we go. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go and do this one. And, oh, that didn't work. I'm going to go and down here. Somehow my mouse just kind of jumped the gun. Okay, and we're going to go like that and there. Okay, back down to our opacity. We're going down again. This time we're going down to whatever it was, 40. Okay, it's working. So the next thing is this last one, and then what we're going to do is we're going to add some glossy kind of finishes on this so that it, kind of highlights stuff. Let's go ahead, do it again. Okay, one. There we go. Now, when you're doing shadows, and gloss kind of lines, you have to use a lot of imagination because not always does it look as straightforward as you'd think. There's a lot of intuition that goes into it. Sometimes you'll hit it right on the ball. Sometimes it won't be that easy. All right, let's see. So now this is okay, but I think we can do a little bit better with this. Let's try it because the amount of shading that goes into these is actually darker inside the pleat. So I'm going to try to do a fade like that. Okay, and I'm going to go on the opacity of whatever it is. 0. I don't want 0. That's crazy. Let's go 70 something. Okay. Now you see, now we're having a little bit more fun with this. But the shadow is not falling where it's supposed to fall. So let me see if I can turn this around. We're going to go and do like a 40. No, that's not what we want. We want maybe a minus 40. There you go. So now you see we have a very nice shaded look. Let's go back and see how that looks. Okay. You see now the shading is going into the pleat where it's supposed to. Now this one is not quite fitting it anymore because it's not quite fitting it anymore. Let's see it. Let's see what we can do with this. Let's go back. I'm gonna go like here. Let me just go. Let me see if there's any other neutrals or something that I could do. A fade. Let's try this fade. Nah, that's not gonna work. Let's go back to the fade this one. And let's just increase the fade point, and there. And the opacity, I'm going to go up a little bit. No, let's go. Boop. There. Let's see how that looks. Okay, now I'm going to go down here because now this doesn't look right. Let's go down here. Let's go down and be a little bit like that. Okay. All right, now it's looking better. Okay, very good. And this one maybe it doesn't need to be all the way up there. Oop. Like I said, shading and shadowing is like a lot of intuition. So you're going to have to like figure these things out by yourself. Now I decided to, as you can see, I decided that I want to make this look a little bit less shaded on the side. And somehow I'm not loving this. Somehow I think the shading needs to be a little bit more dramatic. I'm going to go back in and I'm going to add shade to the last little itty bitty pleat on the side, which just gets pushed aside by the side seam. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to just copy the shading that I did on that. Okay. All right, and all right, there. Now I'm just going to grab this shading because I like it. There. Okay, now let's go back to 100%. Now, so now we have a bag. It still looks kind of flat on the front, which I'm not crazy about, but there is something else we can do. We can actually go a little bit nuts, and we're going to move our shadows points a little bit over this way, a little bit over this way, and I'm just going to go like that, and go like this, and I'm just going to make the shadow a little bit more dramatic. And let's go there. Okay. Actually, maybe even more. There. Okay, looks more like a bucket kind of a thing. Okay, we're good. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this. I don't know why the fade isn't working as well as I was hoping. Let's try this one. Okay, so now I have more of a fade. Okay, why is it like looking like that? I don't know why it's not fading more than it should, but okay, let me actually go and I'm gonna work with the fade then. Okay, there. So now we have more of a fade. I'm going to give it another angle. I'm going to try all different angles because I want it to, trying to figure out where the shade actually went. I'm going to darken it and see. Ah, okay. I'm going to try a 90-degree angle and see how well that does. No, it's still not. I think it needs to be reversed. Let's try a regard. Ah, okay, now we're cooking with oil. Okay, so now we have the gradient is going more towards the bottom of the bag, which is great. Well, let's go ahead and we're going to go a little bit less opacity to give it a little less, okay, drama there. Okay, now we have something that looks like a bag. Let me see, I think I want to carry this over and this goes more here. Okay, there. Okay, I'm going to follow the line of the pleat. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, so now what I would like to do is add some shine to this. Like, this is a gloss, a little bit of a glossy leather. So it's going to have a little bit of shine around here and around the edges of the pleats. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple of things. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a shape here. I'm going to zoom in. And there. Okay, I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to create a shape where I think the glossy kind of shine is going to be. And then I'm going to definitely go way heavy on the opacity. I think it's going to be more like a kind of like a triangular thing because that's the shape that I would think naturally falls on the leather in that area where the okay, we're getting like a dark gloss here. That's fine. I can sort of see through it. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, so I'm going to give myself that shape. It's a little strange, but that's okay. I'm going to put a white gloss on it now. Okay, that's not the type of gloss I want. Oh, and it's also wrong. I need to put it on 0. Okay, there. Okay, so let's see different glosses. Okay, that one in the middle is kind of okay. No, that's a little bit aggressive. That's just weird. Okay, let's go back to the middle one. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to go down on opacity. Again, we can do this. Can go down. Okay, now it doesn't look like much now because we're all zoomed in on it, but we can do this. Okay, and check it out at 100%. Okay, so let's get that. Okay, so it's okay. It's not great, but you can zoom in and fix it. I think what I want to do is I want to grab this and just kind of like grab the whole thing and just stretch it out and see how that looks. Yeah. Okay. And I think I want to move this a little bit out. Just give it a little bit of a glossy kind of fadey look. Okay, so now let's go out again. We're going to zoom out one more time. And I think I'm going to even stretch it out a little more. There. Okay. And I want to move this over so the gloss is like in the middle there. Okay. So now we got like a little bit of a shine to it, like a matte shine, not tremendous. Now what I'm going to do around the edges of the pleat, I'm going to first try with a fat pen mark. because it tends to be a little bit like more of a sharp edge around the pleat. Okay, this is a little bit too aggressive. Let's go to 400%. Okay, so I'm just going to do this. Okay, I'm going to go like this. I'm just going to outline the edge of the pleat and see how that looks. Okay, you see we got like some kind of weird thing from the other ones, the last thing that we did. And I'm going to just go like this. I don't want that. Okay. And then I'm going to go over here, and that's just it. So what I want to do now is I'm going to go to stroke, and I'm going to make a fat stroke. I'm going to go like 6. And that's a real fat stroke. I'm going to give it a round edge. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it white. I don't think I could do a faded stroke now. So I'm just going to get, the fill is going goodbye. And the stroke color is what I needed to. I'm going to go to white. Now, oh wow, that's really bright. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to, again, go down on our opacity. It's just going to be really light. There you go. All right, we'll go down to 21% is fine. Okay, now let's grab that puppy and move it over a touch. Okay, for some reason this isn't working. Okay, so I'm going to grab this tool and I'm going to move it. No, that's not what I want. I want to do this. You silly thing. Okay, there we go. Now we have, it looks really gross here because we're on top of it, but if you go to 100%, you'll see it gets kind of nice. Now what we can do is, I think it's still a little bit too light, so I'm going to grab it again, and I'm going to go even more subtle on our opacity. Yeah, I should go in the teens, like 13, 15, okay. There. Now what do we have? We have a little bit of shine. Now, if you really want to be fancy, you can actually make a whole shape here. And right now we're going to do this. It's something more simple. So I'm going to do the same exact thing to each one of the pleats. I'm going to start up here, go here, go there, and just go like that. Okay. And then I'm going to just say, boop. Okay, and I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to do it for all the pleats. Now the pleats to the most, that are more in the shade, oop, that didn't do it, that are more in the shade, what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably be a little bit less dramatic with them. Okay, let me see. Okay, let's go down with this. Okay, nah, fine. Okay, that's fine. Okay, next, I'm gonna do that again. And we'll probably do a little bit more opaque on those because they're not going to be as dramatic. You might not even need them if the photo, I mean the paintings, the artwork suggests it's not necessary. So, okay, so here we go. We're almost ready with this one, I promise. Yeah, this type of stuff takes a while, sweet people. Okay, so here we go. All right, that's enough. So I'm just going to go here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just shift and grab everybody, and I'm going to copy or do the eyedrop thing on this puppy, and then they're all going to be a little bit less prominent, and they give you kind of like a sheen. Okay, so let's go out to 100% and see. Now, like I said, the ones on the edges look a little strange because they're actually in shade already, so we might want to either get rid of them or make them more opaque. Let's try first making them more opaque because we already troubled ourselves to draw them. Okay, so let's see. Okay. Yeah, I think they still work. Okay. So here we have our lovely little bag with some texture. And you can even add some here. I'm probably going to add a little bit here and here where the handle turns. So let's do that, and then we'll be done with it. Let's go. Let's go straight in. Let's get this done nicely. Okay, so we're at, whoa, that's a little too aggressive, 800%. Let's go to 200%. That's enough. So I'm thinking that I'll probably get a little shine here. I'm going to do a little bit of a kind of a dramatic little drum. Okay, that's way too much. There. So obviously this is not what I want. I'm going to take this and just do no stroke. I'm going to do a fill of white, and then I'm going to do opacity, and I'm going to go down to like 20 something percent, 18, 17, that's fine. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this, and I said grab this. Sometimes my computer doesn't listen to me, what can I tell you? Okay, and there. So you see you have like a little bit of a shine there. If you like that shape, you can just go ahead and steal it, copy, and bring it over here. Just plop it on down there. You have a little bit of a shine there. You can do that again, copy, paste, and put it over here. Okay, this one you're going to need to twirl it around a little. So we just do this. Ooh, okay, there. And then we're going to put it down. Usually, this type of thing just adds a little bit of nothing, but when you look at it, it does give it some kind of look to it. I mean, it is a little bit of a look. If you want to go down even more, you can. Yeah, I think that's better. Okay, so voila, there we have it. We have a semi-glossy leather bag with pleats. Okay, I hope you all enjoyed our class, and if you have any comments, please post them. And if you want me to draw something, send me a photo. And if you want to subscribe, subscribe. Okay, so see you next class. Bye. Thank you.